And that breaking news out of Southern California tonight, where crews continue to fight a fire. This one, a new one. We have some new pictures live from the scene right now. You can see that it is active and it is burning. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Golston Dar.
And I'm Ashley Zavala. The auto fire is burning in a riverbed near the city of Oxnard. Going back out live right now, 75 crews are on scene trying to control this fire. Evacuation orders have been issued, but this is not an area where a lot of people live.
And we are now getting some new images out of LA County tonight showing the devastation left behind by the Eaton fire, one of the two major fires in Southern California that have destroyed thousands of homes. Dangerous fire weather conditions are expected to return starting tonight.
The anticipated winds combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures will keep the fire threat in all of Los Angeles County critical.
So gusty offshore winds are set to come back to California, testing containment lines on the Palisades and the Eaton fires and increasing the risk for new fires to spread.
Here's the latest on the LA County fires. Officials say at least 24 are dead and dozens more are missing, and that number is expected to rise. Over 100,000 people are under evacuation orders.
The Palisades fire still the largest burning in the area. Fire crews have mapped this out at over 23,000 acres with containment at 14%. This fire, however, did not grow in size today, so a little bit of good news there. So far, though, it has destroyed more than 5,000 structures.
Meanwhile, officials say the Eaton fire has burned more than 14,000 acres.
And that fire has not grown in size over the past 3 days. Containment there, 33%. Officials estimating that the Eaton fire has destroyed more than 7,000 structures. KCRA3's Andrea Flores is in the Eaton fire zone right now, where she's getting a first-hand look at the devastation.
We are here in the evacuation zone of the Eaton fire, where thousands of residents are still being forced to wait to come into the evacuation zone to see if their homes are still standing. And we have seen this across so many city blocks here in Altadena, homes completely leveled. You can see here a chimney still remains from this home, the entryway of where this home once stood. And here in Altadena, it is still smoky outside. The winds have died down just a bit, but there is a red flag warning in effect until Wednesday at 6 p.m. So we are monitoring those fire conditions along with those windy conditions as well, and that red flag warning. Another thing that we've noticed along the city of Altadena, you drive through on what's called Lake Street, and that takes you directly through the heart of the city. So many homes and businesses have been leveled, and this is a common scene as well. Burned out cars left there in their parking spaces, completely scorched by the flames. A lot of stone and brick and concrete that is still standing. Some homes and businesses still standing. We know that there is also the National Guard here and law enforcement here to make sure that people aren't coming into the evacuation areas and looting homes that are still standing as well. We're going to keep an eye on the conditions here in the evacuation area from the Eaton fire, and we will continue to bring you those updates on air and online. We'll send it back to you.
All right, and we're going to go back out live right now to that new fire that has cropped up. This is the one burning in Ventura County, and it's in a dry riverbed. It's being called the Auto Fire. To give you kind of an idea of where this is, it is near Oxnard, and of course we know Oxnard is heavily populated, but this particular area is said not to be that populated, and the camera that we're watching here from the air is zooming in on a response vehicle, an emergency vehicle, and as we widen out, you can see the expanse of this fire right now, where they're still trying to contain it before the winds do pick up. And again, the big concern tonight for folks in that area, and really throughout the whole area where we've seen this fire, is the return of those dry, gusty winds.
KCRA3 meteorologist Heather Waldman has been tracking the winds. Heather, we know this fire was really spread by high winds last week. How could they impact conditions tomorrow?
Right, and of course you're referring to the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. Fortunately, over the last couple of days, fire crews have really done a good job of building up solid containment lines. So the winds over the next 48 hours are going to test those lines. Also, you saw the efforts there with the fire near Oxnard in Ventura County. They want to get that wrapped up as quickly as they can, because tomorrow night is when winds will really intensify in that area. But there is a red flag warning from the mountains in San Luis Obispo County all the way through interior San Diego County. Winds in general will be gusting between 30 and 50 miles per hour at times. They'll be strongest overnight tonight and then overnight again Tuesday night into early Wednesday. These are two areas that we're highlighting for potentially stronger winds, gusts up to 70 miles per hour on some of those mountaintops and in some of those exposed canyons. This is Ventura County, the auto fire burning within this area. So again, that's a spot that fire crews will certainly be paying close attention to. And this is the type of situation where even if we don't get a fire to start, and remember, the winds certainly don't cause the fires, the dry air does not cause the fires. In this case, it would be people starting these fires, whether intentional or accidental. Those damaging gusts on their own can cause issues even if we don't see a fire. But here's the outline of the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire there farther to the north and to the east. Notice both areas burning within that red flag zone, so there will be some higher wind gusts as we go through the next couple of nights. Here's Futurecast. The numbers you see are forecast wind gusts. Mid-morning tomorrow, we'll get some gusts in Ventura County between 30 and 35 miles per hour, but watch what happens here Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's where we see those gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour. It'll be isolated, but again, key to watch for those new fire starts and of course for fire crews to maintain the lines that they've already set on the Palisades and Eaton fires. Back to you.
Yeah, that should bring another level of worry for some folks there, but we'll watch it with you, Heather. Thank you. Well, we have some exclusive new video coming out of Southern California tonight as two brothers who have ties to Sacramento fight to save their neighborhood from flames. And many of us know someone impacted directly by these fires. And one Sacramento mother had to watch as her sons chose not to evacuate when the Palisades fire came to them. Case Area 3 Cecil Hannibal joining us right now with how those two may have just saved their neighborhood, Cecil.
Yeah, it goes against everything first responders say you should do. They urged everyone in the Santa Monica Canyons that borders the Pacific Palisades to evacuate. But two brothers said they refused to see their father's home reduced to ashes.
He said, "Mom, if it gets close, I'm not leaving."
The words of two sons determined to fight.
I just had this deep feeling that I knew they were going to be okay.
Inside Kathy Hutter Camacho's home are photos that show a life spent in Los Angeles County. She now lives in Sacramento, but her ex-husband lives right in the path of the Palisades fire. Her two adult sons, Sean and Tim, right by his side.
Okay, turn around.
First responders seriously urged the brothers and their father to leave last Tuesday. But this home in Santa Monica Canyon belonged to their grandmother, now their father. So they made a choice.
My brother's decision was, I'm not leaving. I'm staying. I'm fighting. And my decision is, I'm not leaving my brother's side.
Tim, the oldest of the two, watched as their neighbors evacuated. By Wednesday, the winds kicked up and fire embers rained from the sky.
There's no fire department. There's no other people. It's just us attacking and saving this neighborhood.
For nearly 30 hours, armed with water hoses and handheld radios, the brothers sprayed water on every home and lawn on their block, along with a handful of others who decided to stay.
We came out of there.
The fire getting as close as 5 doors down. When the worst of it ended, Tim says they were able to save 9 homes on their street.
If it wasn't for the few of us that stayed and kept everything wet and attacked the small spot fires as they arose, we would have lost this entire neighborhood the same way that Palisades did. You know, people are telling us like, you guys are heroes, you're saving the neighborhood. And it's like, we're just, you know, doing what we think is right.
Risking their lives to save their family's legacy, but also giving their neighbors a home to come back to when so many in Los Angeles County have lost everything.
They're fixers, they're helpers. They always have been that way. It just shows their character.
And right now, Tim tells us their home is without power, but the other neighbors on other streets who stayed are keeping them supplied with food, gas, and water. That fire threat isn't over, as you know, as we've mentioned, but they don't plan to leave. They have their cars ready to go just in case they need to escape, and they're confident that they will be able to escape if they need to. But there's another problem in their neighborhood right now that actually we saw in the middle of our interview. Take a look.
Break in right at the end of the street. We got looters. We got a break in. You all right. You report back. That's what I'm saying. It's the Wild West out here, and we gotta protect each other.
You know, luckily, he said police were already there when they went to check, but Tim says they've had looters showing up almost every day. They're doing their best to kind of scare them away, but they're not trying to act as law enforcement. They are calling the police when they see these looters. They save their neighborhoods, homes, and now they're trying their best to save their neighbors' personal belongings. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Cecil. Well, taking a live look now at the state capitol, where lawmakers tomorrow will begin to address concerns over the Southern California wildfires in a special legislative session. Governor Gavin Newsom called for an expansion of the special session that he originally called in November to prepare California for President-elect Donald Trump. The governor is proposing to still focus on Trump, but also now wants to provide billions of dollars in new spending to help in the Los Angeles fire response and recovery. The governor wants to specifically spend $2.5 billion total. $1 billion of that would come from the state's emergency funds. The rest would come from a climate bond voters approved in November, known as Proposition 4. The governor's office says that money will be used for the ongoing emergency response. It would also pay for recovery and cleanup efforts, additional wildfire preparedness, and the reopening and rebuilding of schools that were impacted by the fires. The first hearing for this proposal and the Trump-related proposals to prepare for legal fights with the Trump administration will be in the state Senate tomorrow afternoon. This comes as Republicans urge Democrats to stop the Trump-related special session to focus on the wildfires. Here's how Democratic State Senator Scott Wiener, who is leading tomorrow's hearing, responded to that.
I do just want to say, because there has been this bizarre narrative put out by some of my Republican colleagues that somehow, that you have to choose between supporting LA's recovery and defending California against Donald Trump, that there's something inconsistent between doing both of those and you have to pick. And so they're running around saying, oh, well, because you're allocating funds to defend California against Trump, that therefore you are not helping LA with the wildfires, which is absolutely false.
The first hearing on the Trump-related proposals in the state assembly has been postponed until further notice. The chairman of that committee, Assemblyman Jesse Gabriel, represents a part of Southern California that is on fire. Lawmakers still expect to wrap up this work by Friday. We should note a special legislative session is not necessary for both the Trump and LA-related spending. They are both budget bills, which go into effect immediately in California, regardless if lawmakers are in a special or regular legislative session.
And this is happening tomorrow. KCRA3 is partnering up with the American Red Cross. We're going to be having a telethon to help victims of the Southern California wildfires. Hundreds of Red Cross responders are already there supporting at shelters, and they're serving thousands of meals to people and providing evacuees with supplies that include blankets and water. Our telethon goes tomorrow from 6 in the morning till 11:30 at night, and you can donate online. We'll have a number that you can call. The American Red Cross says their hope right now is to offer hope and compassion as survivors begin their long road to recovery.